If I kill you, there's only one version, and that's the one that I give. Eric Garner, Mike Brown, Ezell Ford, John Crawford, Tamir Rice, Sam DuBose. We see this happen time and time again, even in front of a jury. Typically, what an officer says is taken as truth. I wanted to push back the narrative that was being put forth by police chiefs about why officers are using deadly force, because in my mind, they were using deadly force as a first resort and not as a last resort. I did have an impression of the LAPD growing up, and it wasn't a good one. I had many family members and friends who had negative encounters, and so I grew up kind of not liking the police. I grew up during the 60s when tank trucks came down our street because of the Watts riots. And I remember driving down a certain street with my family, and I don't know what it was because I was a little girl, but there was a big sign that said, turn left or get shot. And so that kind of stayed in my mind as a little person, and so I really had a negative view of police growing up.
What was it like being a Black female police officer?
So it was very difficult. We were the first academy class that was evenly split. It was 20 girls and 20 guys. And that was the first time that they ever had that many women in a police academy class. And I was only one of 2 Black females. I noticed that when we were given tests, my white female counterparts seemed to be given an easier task. But it was those kinds of tests, those kinds of games that were constantly being played with me. And so it didn't stop when I got out of the police academy. It continued when I got to my division of assignment. First, unless a police department, a police chief is willing to admit there's a problem, then there's nothing to fix. It's not one thing, because the problem has been there so long on both sides. The animosity in the Black, brown, and poor white communities. Police culture is what it is, and you're not going to change that anytime soon. But I think it's important for families to make sure that you have a conversation with your young people, and you make sure that your young people know how to comport themselves when the police stop them. Well, of course I worry. I mean, because when my sons leave the house, they have the same skin that I do, and I know that no one is immune. And I know that my sons could be stopped. And so what I tell my sons is the same thing that I say when I speak to young people. The police stop you, comply. And if you're not happy with the level of service, then we'll complain. That it's important to create a paper trail if officers stop you and you don't like the kind of service that you're receiving. But it's also important for you to not hold court curbside. There is no shame in surviving a police encounter.